Every year, Friends of Freeholder John Bartlett recognize individuals whose work has increased freedom and opportunity for residents of Passaic County, New Jersey, and the nation as champions of civil rights. These champions remind us that the arc of moral history, of which Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. spoke, bends towards justice not on its own, but through the service of these champions, and of community leaders and grassroots activists like them across the nation and the world. Their lives' work can inspire all of us to be activists, advocates, and leaders for the civil rights issues that matter most to us. This year, we honor Chairman John Currie, whose leadership of the Passaic County Democratic Committee for the past 27 years has not only resulted in Democratic political success, but also in the expansion of access and opportunity in local government for every resident of Passaic County. After a childhood in North Carolina, during a time when segregation was still the law of the land, John Currie arrived in Patterson in time to play football for the Patterson school system.
Well, you know, years ago, we're going back 50 years ago or better, when we were young and healthy, and we were athletes, so they told us, and we were both part of what was called the PVC, the Passaic Valley Conference. That was a series of schools that spanned along the Passaic River. Clifton and Passaic and East Rutherford and Lyndhurst, Garfield, East Patterson at the time, which then became Elmwood Park, Patterson Central, which then became Kennedy, Patterson East Side, and those of us that played in that conference like to believe that it was the strongest conference in New Jersey. But John's speed was known throughout the league. In fact, the nickname of my dear friend is John Hurry Currie, because he was that quick. And Patterson in the 60s and 70s was a very integrated community. But many of those teams were not, and many of those towns were not in the Passaic Valley Conference. You just do a better job than the people you're playing against, and sooner or later, they got to say, okay, this guy is the best running back we have. Not the best black running back or the best running back out of Patterson. He was the best.
It's really an honor today to talk about my chairman, John Currie, who I refer to as Coach Currie. Why do I refer to him as Coach Currie? Because he is truly a coach in every sense of the word. A political coach, a former iconic coach in the city of Patterson when it comes to Little League football and many other areas, and particularly the Inca Suns. Coach Currie is somebody that knows how to build a team. He knows that a team has to have many, many ingredients. And if you look at the state, you look at the county, you look at the people that he has developed, from women to many nationalities to first, he is that guy who could build that team.
Beginning in 1990, when he succeeded then Patterson Mayor and Assemblyman Bill Pascrell as chairman of the Passaic County Democratic Committee, the team needed a coach like John Currie.
I met Chairman Currie when he was working for Bill Pascrell. Bill Pascrell, now the congressman, at that time was an assemblyman, and he was also chairman of the Passaic County Democratic Party. And we had an all-Republican freeholder board comprised of white men. At one point, for a short time, there was one Caucasian woman. That's it.
This county was nothing like what you see today. This was an all-white male Republican county. Whether you were an employee or if you were on the slate. Just looking at his slate of candidates in any given election, you see the diversity, you see the representation of women. We now have a constitutional officer who is a woman. We have a senator in the 35th District who is a Latina woman. We have our freeholder director who is a woman. And he has always pushed women to serve. From my experience working as his vice chair, I can say he has always listened to my viewpoints. I'm not saying we've always agreed, He will always ask me what my viewpoints are, and he does honestly listen to you.
I think the chairman was very influential and instrumental in accomplishing the diversity that exists now in Passaic County. He never made a secret of how he felt. He shared that with the elected officials. But before they were elected officials, he shared that with his candidates.
John became the leader of the Democratic Party in Passaic County, I think it was 1991. And, you know, I spoke to him, and he knew of my interest in running for freeholder. And I have to say, he was very encouraging. At that point in time, I think I was only the second woman to run for freeholder in Passaic County. I ran for freeholder in 91 and again in 92. And, you know, as an aside, John and I think, are the only two Democrats who ever ran back-to-back and lost. You know, and interestingly, you know, John is an African-American man. But, you know, people see John, they don't think race. They think leader. They don't think race. This is not someone you would describe as, you know, a black leader. John is a leader.
This leadership has enabled Passaic County to thrive. In turn, the county's leadership has become more diverse and inclusive.
I recall growing up, one of my favorite champions of civil rights had always been former U.S. Supreme Court Justice Thurgood Marshall. And I do recall his words, which we oftentimes hear in different phrases, that we don't get somewhere solely by pulling ourselves up by our own bootstraps. Rather, we get somewhere because there is someone who bends down to help us. And I must say that that indeed is Chairman John Currie. He has always been there for every race, religion, gender.
John had an aura about him, an aura of inclusiveness, determination, and hard work. I was very taken with his goals, and his goals, very simply, were to have the Freeholder Board reflect the county. And he was always very determined to have that happen. A balance of women and men, Latino, African American. And throughout the years, I've always been so proud of him because he accomplished his goals. One by one, he accomplished his goals.
Of the 10 women who have served on the Passaic County Board of Chosen Freeholders, 7 were Democrats elected under the chairman's leadership. 4 of them served as director of the Freeholder Board, including the first Latina Freeholder Director and the first and second African American Freeholder Directors. In fact, every African American, Hispanic, and Asian American freeholder in Passaic County has been a Democrat serving during Chairman Currie's leadership of the party. In addition to Directors Rosado, Evans, and Way, Democrats under the chairman's leadership also elected Freeholder Hector Lora, the second Latino and first Dominican to serve as Freeholder and Freeholder Director, as well as Freeholders Grayson Hannigan and T.J. Best, who also served as Freeholder Director. Under Chairman Currie's leadership, the county also elected the first African-American female county clerk and the first Latina to serve as Passaic County surrogate judge. And last year, Passaic County Democrats made history again by selecting the first Asian American and first Muslim to serve on the Passaic County Board of Chosen Freeholders. The chairman even assembled this historic first, the only freeholder ticket in New Jersey history to feature 2 red-headed lawyers. In the same time period, Passaic County's boards and commissions appointed by the freeholders have become more reflective of the population they serve. The work of these groups shapes the course of Passaic County government, and now they're reflective of the county's rich diversity.
During the time, the New Jersey Highlands Council, which is the governing body for land and water preservation within the Highlands region, was looking for a Passaic County resident as a new member. Chairman John Currie was at the forefront of ensuring that that new member would support environmental causes, But most importantly, he was looking for female and a minority to bring that diverse representation to the governing body. And that was me.
On the Board of Social Services, the participation of members of the Arab, Bangladeshi, and Hispanic communities made it possible for the first time to publish social service information in multiple languages to reach the county's growing immigrant populations. Most recently, Chairman Currie has spread these leadership principles developed in Passaic County as New Jersey's state Democratic chairman.
In 2013, Chairman Currie became the state Democratic chairman. And he had this vision of having more people have a voice in the state Democratic Party. So he started caucuses, and I am proud to say that the South Asian American Caucus was the first one developed. In October 2013, Satish Bundi and I became co-chairs, and we started developing, actually not developing, connecting with people from all over the state. That's what Chairman Currie wanted. And other caucuses also developed: the LGBT caucus, the Jewish caucus, the disability caucus, the Hispanic caucus. And it's all so that different communities feel like they have a place at the table. And it is because of Chairman Currie's vision that all of this has happened.
In all this, Chairman Currie is guided by the principle
that unity brings victory, and the strength that we have is our diversity. To look in his eyes the day that Barack was nominated, that kind of speaks volumes as about the man. And if you look on the picture, and I have one over there, anybody could have been in that picture. John saw fit to have me standing at his side with Senator Menendez and Senator Booker. I mean, that just speaks volumes about our friendship and his inclusiveness and his love for what's fair and just and right. He was a progressive before it was popular.
It takes vision and commitment to work so much change, benefiting so many individuals and communities, over a period of not just years, but decades. So tonight, even as we look forward to more years of Chairman Currie's leadership in our state and our county, we pause to recognize him as a champion of civil rights.